Hi, boys and girls. Today I am going to read chapter 3 and 4 of Junie B. Jones' Graduation Girl by Barbara Park right here in front of Parkview Elementary School. Now, after you have finished kindergarten and first grade at Eagleview, you will move over here to Parkview for grades 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, or grades 2, 3, and 4. So when I first started here teaching kindergarten, this was the building that I was in, and it was just preschool, kindergarten, first and second grade, and then you went over to our current building for third grade through eighth grade, if you can believe that. So lots of things have changed through the years. I'm even wearing my Parkview shirt today. So yesterday when we ended, Mrs. was trying to have the children finish this poem. Roses are red, violets are blue, graduation is here. But some of the answers that she was getting were not school appropriate. So maybe you could think of a good ending that would end this graduation poem. All right, chapter 3, A Good Chuckle. Because Junie B. was heading to the office when we finished chapter 2. The office is where Principal lives. I know my way there by heart. There's a typing lady there too. That would be our Miss Karen. She looked over the counter at me. Well, would you look who it is, she said. I looked down at myself. Well, it does look like me, I said kind of quiet. The typing lady pointed at the blue chair. The blue chair is where the bad kids have to sit. Only I'm not even bad. But I still have to come here and sit sometimes. I put my feet on the edge of the chair and I hid my face in my knees. If you don't hide your face, people can recognize you. Finally, I peeked one eye at Principal's door, and guess what? The guy was looking right back at me. Is that Junie B. Jones I see out there? He said. I did a gasp, 'cause Principal can even recognize me with one eyeball, apparently. I went into his office and I sat in the big wooden chair. Principal winked at me. I'm a little surprised to see you, Junie B., he said. You haven't been here for quite some time. I nodded. I know it, I said. That's because my behavior has shown considerable improvement. I pronounced the words very perfect. My teacher printed those words on my last report card, I said. And guess what else showed improvement? My speaking, that's what. 'Cause I don't say things like runned anymore. And I don't say thinked. And I don't say throwed. Do you want to hear me say them right, huh, Principal? Do you? Huh? I took a deep breath. Ran. Thought. Through, I said. And I smiled very proud. See, I told you. Mother says I'm getting a much better vocabulary. Principal smiled. Yes, well, I'm delighted with your improvements, Junie B., he said. But if everything has gotten better, then why are you here to see me? I wiggled in my chair very uncomfortably. Because it wasn't my fault, that's why, I said. What wasn't your fault? Asked the principal. I wiggled some more. Then finally I told Principal how my teacher made us write a graduation poem and how she said the last word was to rhyme with blue. So Polly Allen Puffer rhymed the word P-U, and then Mrs. got mad at him because she did not appreciate his behavior. Only too bad for me because my brain thought of an even sillier poem and my mouth couldn't even keep it inside. Principal closed his eyes and he took some deep breaths. All right. Let's hear it. I gulped, very worried, and then I made my voice real soft. Roses are red, violets are blue, graduation is here, and your feet smell like PU, I said. After that, Principal just kept his eyes closed a real long time, and he did not say any words. Then, very, very slow, he put his head down on his desk. And he started to laugh. He laughed louder and louder. And guess what? I started laughing then too. That poem is a beaut, right, Principal? We are having ourselves a real chuckle over this, aren't we? Principal stopped laughing very fast, and he raised his head again. No, Junie B., no, we are not having a good chuckle. I'm sorry. Your poem caught me completely by surprise, but I never should have laughed like that. And he crossed his arms at me. You are right about one thing, though, he said. Your poem is definitely silly, but silly things are not always appropriate to say in the classroom, are they? Your teacher made it clear that she didn't like what Polly Allen Puffer had said, Junie B., but you went ahead and called out your poem anyway. He made squinty eyes at me. And please, don't blame it on your mouth, okay? You know you could have held it inside. I shrugged my shoulders. I don't know, I said kind of quiet. Maybe I could have. Principal tapped his fingers on his desk. It's a very serious matter to disobey a teacher, Junie B., he said, and I want you to sit here and think about just how serious it is. Can you do that, please? Yes, I can. After that, I squeezed my eyes shut really tight, and I thought, and finally I opened my eyes again. Good news, I said. I said my last stink. Principal nodded his head. That is good news, he said. Then he stood up, and he held my hand, and he walked me back into the hall. It's been an interesting year getting to know you, Junie B., he said. You are indeed a fascinating little girl. Thank you, I said. You are fascinating, too. After that, both of us waved goodbye, and I started to skip back to room 9. Then all of a sudden, I stopped and I spun around. Yeah, only we are not saying goodbye forever, right, Principal? Right? 'Cause next year, I will get sent down here too, probably. Or else maybe you and I will see each other on the playground, right? Principal did a chuckle. Right, he said. Hooray, I said. Hooray, hooray, hooray. Then I turned back around and I skipped to room 9 my fastest. 'Cause maybe if I hurried, I could still sprinkle glitter on something. Chapter 4. Cats and Gowns. I skipped to the door of room 9. Then my whole face got happy, 'cause guess who was talking to my teacher? It was Gus Filoni, that's who. And Gus Filoni is my very, very favorite janitor. That's like our Mr. Kevin. I zoomed right over to that guy. Gus Filoni, it is a joy to see you, I said. And so what brings you here anyway? Gus Filoni just patted my little head. I had an important delivery to make, sis, he said. Just then my bestest friend Lucille came running up to me. She pointed to a big stack of boxes. It's cats and gowns, Junie B., she shouted. Gus Filoni brought us cats and gowns. She twirled me all around. I heard him talking to the teacher. The cats and gowns are right here in those boxes. Everyone is getting one for graduation. I jumped up and down at that wonderful news. 'Cause who doesn't love cats? That's what I'd like to know. Cats and gowns, I hollered. Cats and gowns, hollered room 9. Junie B. tends to get her classmates a little wound up. Mrs. sat down in her chair real slow. Then Gus Filoni patted her shoulder, and he just said, Good luck. Mrs. said for room 9 to please stop shouting. I'm sorry, boys and girls, but Lucille did not hear me correctly, she said. No one in room 9 is getting a cat and gown for graduation. Room 9 did a loud groan. Then what are we getting exactly, I asked. Caps and gowns, said Mrs. You're getting a cap and a gown for graduation, not cat and gown. Just that ending letter made a difference. No, said Lucille. I heard you say cat, teacher. I know I did. Mrs. said for Lucille to hush. Then she passed out all the boxes to the children. I looked inside my box real curious. Then I kept looking and looking because something was not right in there. My cap got run over by a truck, I said. It's just a big, flat, square flatso. Mrs. smiled. Then she came to my table and she unfolded my cap and she plopped it right on my head. After that, all of us put on our caps and gowns and we skipped all around the room. Only not Lucille, because she was still upset about the cat issue, of course. Pretty soon the bell was going to ring, and so Mrs. made us put our outfits back in our boxes. I'm going to let you take these home with you today, she said. Please do not play with them on the bus. And don't play with them at home either. These caps and gowns are white, okay? And white materials can get soiled, which means dirty, very easily. I know it, Mrs. I know it. I know white material gets soiled easily. 'Cause one time, my Grandpa Miller, he spilled a grown-up grandpa drink on his new white tie, and you could still see spots on that thing today. Mrs. just looked and looked and looked at me. Then she sat down at her desk, very quiet, and she waited for the bell to ring. And that is the end of Chapter 4 here at Parkview Elementary School, where you will go for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade. And Chapter 5 will be called A Million Bucks. So, thanks for joining me here at Parkview. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.